John Brady. 30 seconds to introduce.
Minister, are you aware of issues ongoing in the Jobpath scheme, and when do you intend on carrying out a full review of the scheme from its introduction?
Minister has 2 minutes.
Pleased to advise the Deputy that the experience of Jobpath to date has been very positive. The most recent unemployment figures from the CSO show that the monthly unemployment rate in March 2017 stands at 6.4%. This is a decrease from 8.3% last March and 9.9% the March before that, so a decline of 3.5 percentage points in the past year. In addition, the CSO's quarterly National Household Survey reports that there were 2.048 million people in employment at the end of 2016. Employment increased by over 65,000, or 3.3%, in the quarter to 2016, and by 2.3% the previous year. My department recently published the results of an independent customer satisfaction survey, which indicates that job seekers feel they are receiving a good service and that Jobpath has improved their chances of securing employment. Between 76% and 81% of customers were satisfied with the service provided, and only between 5% and 8% expressed dissatisfaction. Over 90% of customers reported that Jobpath staff made them feel valued and that they had a good relationship with their advisor. They also felt the service had improved their chances of getting a job. An analysis of employment outcomes for Jobpath participants shows they have a higher chance of securing and remaining in a job than participants with a similar duration on unemployment who were not referred to Jobpath. Given that only small numbers of people have completed their full engagement with the service, these results can only be treated as indicative at this stage. Nevertheless, they are encouraging. Should the Deputy wish to consider the matter in more detail, the results and a copy of the survey are available on the Department's website. My Department will also publish similar performance reports for each successive quarter as job seekers complete their 12-month engagement period, and the next set of results will be published in the next few weeks. In addition, my department will have an econometric review of the Jobpath service, which will commence later this year when participant numbers have reached a sufficient level to support a robust review.
1 minute.
Minister, the emergence of Jobpath has signalled a drive towards privatisation agenda within the Department for job activation schemes. And since 2011, penalties have been increasing year on year for those who do not engage in job activation scheme. Between 2011 and 2006, over 27,000 people were sanctioned. So, as the live register goes down, Minister, penalties go up. Is this a new policy within the department? You might answer that. And those engaged with Jobpath cannot transfer to another scheme if they're offered a place. Incur travel costs that are not reimbursed, are obliged to travel up to 60 minutes to whatever job, and the Department's preference for Jobpath is taken away from local employment services and CE schemes who are suffering. Minister, the priority for Tourist Nua and CTEC is to make money. And that's the bottom line. They do not care what job they place a person in. Their objective is profit. Is it now a policy objective of the Department to give preference to Jobpath ahead of all other schemes, Minister?
Minister has 1 minute.
The preference of the Department absolutely is jobs first. That the first thing we should try and get for somebody is a regular job as opposed to being on a scheme, because a regular job is better paid, has the prospects of promotion, and means that you're working and paying tax rather than being on a scheme, which means, of course, the taxpayer has to pick the bill, and, of course, that scheme will end. So, of course, the preference is for a full-time job of more than 30 hours over a scheme. Absolutely, our policy is regular, real job first. And if somebody can't get that job, well, then they may well be suitable for supported employment with the scheme. What we're doing is a customer satisfaction survey that's done quarterly. The success rates are also published quarterly. And bear in mind, the success is being in a regular job that's more than 30 hours a week, so it's a full-time job, and to stay in that job for more than 13 weeks. So none of that stuff about part-time employment or unsustainable jobs. And we will do an econometric analysis this year. I would point out, though, that this is a contract. It's a contract that runs until the end of 2019. So we can have any review we like under the sun. The contract stands until the end of 2019, and then there's a 2-year run-off period after that. Obviously, in 2018, this government, or whichever government is in power in 2018, will have to make a decision at that point as to whether they want to re-tender for a similar contract, not do it at all, because unemployment might be extremely low by then, or have a different type of contract, maybe trying to activate
Final
different groups of
supplementary
people.
from Deputy Brady.
Minister, the only review that is being carried out so far is totally useless. The review relates to the first 3 months of the operation of Jobpath, from July 2015 to September 2015. And this review was not published until January of this year. And Minister, that report is not a true reflection, and I'm sure other deputies are having similar experiences of constituents coming through their doors, outlining many concerns. So that report is not a true reflection of the scheme and the jobs it is placing job seekers in. What is the quality of the jobs being sourced for job seekers is very questionable, and how vulnerable and how are the vulnerable job seekers actually treated. So what we actually have is 2 private companies, Minister, making money on the back of job seekers. We have no figures, we have no costs, we have no review, and we have no idea of the impact the scheme is having on job seekers or its success rate. And we have a situation where Jobpath will not engage with public representatives or deal with third-party queries whatsoever, Minister, which is a serious problem. Minister, you said there is going to be some sort of a review later in the year. It needs to be a root and branch review of the total operation of the scheme, Minister, and I ask you again, is that something that you will commit to?
I've already told you what reviews are being done, and I've also explained to you that the contract runs until the end of 2019, regardless of any reviews. And we would only consider cancelling the contract if the contract was breached, and it certainly hasn't been breached. The customer satisfaction survey and the outcome results, which show how many people are moving into employment, they are published quarterly and will be published quarterly, and the second quarterly report will be out in the next couple of weeks. In terms of making money, it's important to bear in mind that these companies bore all of the start-up costs themselves. Had the department had to set up that number of offices all around the country, it would have cost tens of millions of euros. So they bore all the start-up costs themselves, and they get paid by results, which in my view is a very good model from the point of view of the taxpayer. They only get paid when, absolutely, I've already released figures. They only get paid by results, and the result is somebody taking up sustainable employment, more than 30 hours a week of paid work, and they only get paid if the person sustains a job, if they're in it for more than 13 weeks. That's a pretty good model, and I don't see, if it's such a lucrative thing, I don't see the other groups signing up for payment by results. If payment by results was so lucrative, why aren't other providers, whether it's local employment schemes or CE, looking to move to payment by results model?